Welcome, welcome. This one's a little different, maybe a one-off. I've got all these photographs series by the Badillions, and I figured we'd go through a few of them. Now, this one is loosely organized into it's a collection of photographs from around the 70s, and it's retrofit, as the title suggests. What it is it's basically examples, although not this picture. It's examples of old world structures that appear to be constructed at a earlier time with different intentions in mind, and they've been, as the title would suggest, sort of retrofitted into this new era of civilization, or America, and turned into various businesses and other uses. Now, I can't vouch for the purpose or the motives behind the builders, past or present. A lot of it's just recklessly speculation about what I assume these buildings are repurposed, because many of them are kind of ludicrous. And intermixed with that is photos like this of just retro signs that have nothing to do thematically with the buildings. I just thought they were fun. They also kind of help with the context, because there was a period of time, America, and it's still around. There's a sort of era, America roadside attractions that was very kitschy. You can still see this sometimes on like Route 66 or a place like South Padre, Texas, or some of these vacation beach towns where they have this sort of gaudy, it'll be like a swimwear store in a beach town that's the store is shaped like a giant shark and you enter through its mouth. Things like that are just sort of kitschy, or giant dinosaurs or giant figures on the side of the road that were just very outdated. And the reason I included a bunch of these that I have here is because it also shows what appears to be obvious to us, to me now, about some of these buildings. Like, how would that didn't make anyone suspicious? That looks like an Egyptian temple, but it's just a corner store. But in the context of that style and that era of sort of the fashion of the day for those sort of businesses, it wouldn't be out of place. And so that's why I threw in a lot of these, so you can just kind of get a feel for what the people were seeing as they traveled through America, theoretically, and why some of these that would stand out today and make no sense would blend in with the scenery at the time. And I'm not sure if I adequately explained that, but for example, this is a tavern. Actually, I've been to this tavern. This is in Portland, Oregon. This is Evergreen Tavern on 26th Street, and I think I've been to this tavern. It looks very familiar. Regardless, this to me was clearly constructed not as a tavern. I'm not sure what was going on initially here or here, but my guess would be this served a different purpose based on the sort of obvious blend of covered up features and things like that. And the little symbolism here, I bet it was very much more ornamented at some point than it is here now. Anyway, that's what we're doing here, and we're just kind of having some fun looking at pictures and recklessly speculating. Some of these are not retrofitted at the time. Like, this is a theater, Alberta Theater in Billings, Montana. This is a food man market, Wilmington, California. And like I said, some of these aren't necessarily old world buildings, but they look repurposed to me. They look, or they just embody this sort of thematic feel for old world Americana. This is sort of a wistful look back at simpler times when people advertised differently and things like this were not uncommon. It's Colonial Motel here. This is a sign is in St. George, Utah, or was. And this is just an example of the kind of sort of kitschy roadside attractions sort of thing that would lure in, essentially trying to get the attention of kids and potentially in the backseat. They're like, Mom and Dad, stop. I want to go see the giant dinosaur or whatever. And then, all right, kids, gather in. Winifred, got your things. Let's go get a beverage. That's sort of a thing. Obviously, this is not a real train. It looks like it's been kind of composed together of parts and possibly an actual boxcar behind it. This is in Somerville, Texas. I don't know if in most of these buildings are probably not here anymore. So this is also just kind of a sad look at the way it was. This is Fort Worth, Texas. This little beat down little sign here at a Tower Motel. Look at that, $14.90 a couple. This is in Waco, Texas. That's just insane how inexpensive things were. Couple, huh? But for a single guy, what do you pay half? You pay the same? This is in Oregon, Klamath Falls, and I highly doubt that this diner was the intention. Now, some of these, it's true, could be constructed in like an homage to. I know they still do that today. They build in the style, these sort of fake buildings that look like they're old French quarters or whatever. This is a Herbie K's Diner in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and it looks to me like it was a little train car, possibly. I know they used to do that with some diners, or maybe it's just designed to look like that. Here's an IHOP in Denver. Now, this one looks rather new, but I think it looks to me constructed in the style of an older building. It's got that sort of jukebox shape, what I call, and the brick, just a little classic roll through America, just to see what we can see with these fresh eyes. Is obviously Del Taco is in Flagstaff, here on Route 66, which based on the location, I'm assuming that this was initially something different. Just the way that it's laid out here, it's just so unnecessary to do that. This is perhaps a better example, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure what this tower here would have ever done, but this is a hamburger place, Winstead Hamburgers in St. Joseph, Missouri. Better look at it there. Kind of a cool building, and I wonder if I don't know, if it's just designed that way, or was it something else? You know, the mind does wonder. There's a country kitchen in Kirksville, Missouri, and I don't know anything about these restaurants. You know, this could be just the way they make them, like a Mimi's Cafe, designed to look like a friend. I don't know, but it appears to be the same kind of vein of. And I'll stop justifying the existence of these in here. I'm just trying to thematically tie these in so you understand what sort of the mission is for this. And you know, this is definitely not a repurposed building. I do believe this was designed this way, but it was designed to also look fake. You know, we're just basically looking at we're using our powers of observation to see what we can learn about the world and see buildings like this also in Kirksville, Missouri, which probably were built in homage to buildings that were kind of before, like this here, Papa John's. Although this seems to be a theme because this is the same restaurant, I guess. This is just the other side of it. And yeah, maybe this was old because look at the brick here. This is a stone restaurant in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, or was. And I don't know what to make of this one. This almost looks painted, like it's not actually made of stone. It's just sort of painted, and the roof is cobbled together out of like flagstone. I don't know. An old taco stand. This is Route 66. This is in Winslow, Arizona. Just because of the location of Route 66, it might have been something else, but it actually, you know, just the block, it looks pretty regular. This is in St. Paul, Minnesota. This CJ's Fine Food. Those old styles just look so funny and out of place now, you know. The Astrodome Drive-In in Plattsburgh, New York. Funky little building there. And this is a hot dog stand in Queens, or was. Harvest Seafood Fried Chicken. And this caught my eye here with this little facade looking decidedly like it served a different purpose than a hot dog stand at some point in life. But what do I know? This is in Tompkins Cove, New York. The Last Stand. And this is in Texas. Fabens? Not sure if I'm saying that right. Something about the roof here tells me that this is not really, I mean, it's pointless. What is this, you know? And I love these old retro signs, so I do a bunch of these in here just because I think they're super cool. And it's just the lost time, lost slice at a time. This is in Bozeman, Montana. And Route 90, El Paso, Texas. Look at that old HBO free in your room. What else would it be? This is Hart Theater, Baton Rouge. And so many of these theaters had this sort of strange items, I guess you call them, like sort of attachments, almost like a centerpiece. And you know, this stuff it's sadly just been painted over and just sadly blends in. So I don't know if it was by design where this style caught on, or were buildings just actually ridiculous, and so people started emulating it and making their own business ridiculous. Like, hey, you see the guy up the street here? It's got a gas station shaped like a pyramid. Well, that's clever. Well, really, the building was just always a pyramid, and so the guy up the street is like, well, I'm gonna make mine look like the way they copied each other back then. Everyone wore the same hat. It seems plausible. This is Warner Theater in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and this is what I'm talking about. The idea that this would be a theater and sadly boarded up. What is this? This is incredible craftsmanship to put into a theater where people go inside immediately and sit in the dark. Usually, they don't enjoy this. So I don't know. I think a theater draws itself in. You don't need all this to lure people in. You know, if you're going to the movies, you're not going to see what the building looks like. I think this is just very, very, very funny that these are like this. That just stands out so much unnecessary things. Unless, of course, they are necessary for, different purpose, different times, different people. And this is 2.5 stores, we're told. This is in Ida Grove, Iowa. And again, somehow doubt that this stuff, these hacky little fonts here, are original. Very cool building, though. This is in Fairview, Utah. The Owl Lodge. This is in South Tucson, Arizona. A lot of owl themes, too. And this is in Ogden, Utah, on Route 89. This funky little sign here. And I'm not sure if this was here and serves like a telegraph pole, and then they just turned this into the Spindletop Motel sign. I don't know. This is in Texas. This one here is in Austin. A little close-up at Irby K's Diner. Yes, sir. Clock looks a little handmade, doesn't it? They don't quite add up, do they? Alternate angles, Rosa's Fruit Stand in Lawton, Oklahoma. And this one is in Monona, Wisconsin. And this is a truck stop, obviously. Just a very odd sort of entrance and roof here for a truck stop, don't you think? This here is the House of Blue Lights Barbecue, and it was an old gas station in Shreveport, Louisiana. This sort of old world brick sort of molding here, and I doubt most of these buildings are even around anymore. A funny little drive-in here in Rhinebeck, New York. This is probably original building. Just funny the shapes that they would make these things in. And there's a lot of those, I think, in upstate New York still, little ice cream stands and mom and pop places that look like that. Although they're shrinking. A lot of them are gone after the great pandemic. This is obviously a tortilla factory. This is in Fort Worth, Texas. And now, contrary to the other one, this one actually looks like it's made of like random rubble. Though I don't believe it's very old, but possibly. This is a very kitschy Italian restaurant in Columbia, South Carolina. I don't know what the theme is supposed to be here. I guess like some old Tuscan adobe or like some sort of native, supposed to emulate like a native ruin. I don't know. This wall's kind of interesting to be out here. This wall looks original. So who knows what this initially was? But it looks like a theme park almost. Home cooking, tacos, and comida. This is in McClure, New York, or was. And this is a Toll House restaurant, which somehow, doubt, was a restaurant initially. I mean, you can see the little old world ornamentation here. This is in Massachusetts, Whitman. The Middle Path Cafe in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The little retro top here, looking like a, who knows what it could have been, you know? Like I said, I mean, I just speculating. I guess a lot of these could be built this way. It's true. This is in Perry, Oklahoma. Very odd little building. This little funky guy, Louis Lunches in Dilworth, Minnesota. Such an innocent time back then. And you know, it's amazing because aside from like big brands like Pabst is still around, but there's just so many little mom and pop places. It's a shame. What is it? Green Hill Post 397 Model Land. Is this a secret society entrance? Well, I didn't catch that before. This is Traymore Cafeteria, St. Petersburg, Florida. I don't quite know what to make of this one. It's got this big entranceway, arched doorways or windows, but most of it looks pretty modern. An old Doc's Place Cocktail Lounge in Boston, Massachusetts. That has the look of a place I wouldn't be surprised if that was still there. There's always like a bar like that just somehow slips through the cracks and stands the test of time. Roasted chicken. Wow. I don't even know what broasted means. Like, what is that? But this, I don't know what this has to do with barbecue this year, but this looks like a relic from the past. That with the brick and just the entrance, it just seems like they just turned this into a barbecue restaurant somehow. And wow, that big old light on the top of that phone booth, that's dope. I wonder where all the phone booths are. I wonder what they're doing. This is in Socorro, Texas. This old Adobe El Pasado restaurant. Houston, Texas got this here grill. The same sort of a shape on Main Street there. This is a Roadhouse in Banning, California. And this looks like I doubt this is still here. I mean, man, that thing looks like it was just made out of paper mache. And Wilmington, California's got this here Johnny's 329 Club. And you see things like this, and you just wonder, arches, you know, what's the painting stripe? I doubt it. It's probably a filled-in window or wall. So I don't know what goes on in this here club cafe, but chances are it has a checkered past and cozy inn. Somehow I doubt that. This is Junction City, Kansas. This old boy. There's a little side view of it. Stock Exchange Club in Wyoming. Kind of funky. I like these old pictures, man. This is old. This is a different style of America. There's like this one painted on, the rocks painted on. You know, there's a lot of that. A lot of that fakery. And this one too. So, Safari Recreation Restaurant in Sunnyside, Washington. Now, I am willing to bet just about everything I've got that this was not the initial theme for this restaurant, right? This had to be something else, some other business that was, I don't know what it could be, that they just kept the sign and turned that into the restaurant and just kept the name because it was funny. That'd be my guess. The Old Lion's Lair here and bar in Denver, Colorado. Look at that old world trim there. That's so cool. Too bad Denver's lost so much of that character it used to have. Caboose Bar and Grill. Definitely an old world banger. This one's in Indiana. I like this. These windows are painted to be like, is it a O'Malley's bar? And this one is, it could not have made this building with this sort of rooftop to be a bar. I don't buy it. It's got to be something else. This is in South Dakota. Just unnecessary, you know. You're a business owner. Why would you do that? This is in Galveston, Texas. This little guy, little Rex Cafe. This one's in Union City, Pennsylvania. And I don't even know what to make of this one. It's got these funky little window shapes. It's not really normal. I mean, not really functional. It's random doors. Very strange, you know. Very strange. Oh, by the way, this place is called oh yeah, you could see Bigfoot in there. Still talking about Bigfoot way back then, huh? Everyone knows Bigfoot's a psyop to get people to be scared of the forests. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Hathaway House restaurant here. And this is in Blissfield, Michigan. And I just seriously doubt that this was designed to be a restaurant. I mean, look at that. That's a beautiful building. It's an old world banger. This is in Austin, or was, King David's Restaurant, which is a fascinating look at just how short-sighted people can be. I mean, look at the front of this, and then you take a step back and you realize, wow, this building was very beautiful one day and had so much more potential than this little front, like, mask it's wearing. It's actually kind of sad. And Red Rock Cafe here in Oklahoma City. Very strange, very strange. A club montage in Paso Robles, California. Very interesting. So it's a club, or I guess it's the night time looks like a club, but then the bottom is, I guess this is now renting, so who knows. Antiques and such. A lot of those buildings in California have just changed hands so many times. A restaurant in Tecumseh. That looks to me like it is from another era. I mean, just look at the detailing on it and the foundational stuff going on. You know, sconces, dude. You always tell these freaking sconces. I'm surprised they're still there. Nobody's taking them. The Rainbow Bar, which probably meant something different, but maybe not, in Rialto, California. And this is in Stockton, California. And this has got to be something else initially. It's just fascinating to me. I mean, maybe this is really boring. Just pictures of dumpy little buildings to most people, but I am interested in the I guess regression, the breakdown of these buildings, of how they just slowly get stripped of all character and just end up looking like dumps. It's just fascinating to me. This is Father's Also Tavern. I'm sure there's some story history behind that name, but in Redlands, California, just look at this bad boy. I mean, what a cool building. What is going on here? Almost looks like building imprints of other buildings that were used to stand in front of it. I don't know. I don't really get why it's shaped like that. You see what I'm saying there with the brick outline? Just very odd. Very odd indeed. Tom's Cafe in Los Angeles. I don't know what's going on up here, Tom. Almost looks like you just added it on to show that flair. What else we got here? This is a tavern in Wisconsin. You can't tell me that was designed to be a tavern. I mean, I don't buy it. And this one's even got the little basement windows down here. They've glass blocked them in. Greenville Avenue, Dallas, Texas is this bar and grill. This decidedly non-fitting facade. This is a tavern as well. And I guess now it's an antique store, but it was listed as a Brickwalker Tavern, which is funny because I don't know very many 4-story taverns. Kind of funky, but that old light fixture out here, and just the way it's situated with little basement windows down here and stuff. It's it's got a history, that's for sure. Who builds a tavern that's like that? This is a La Casiga Bar in Wilmington, California. Man, I think a lot of these sadly are. They're not around anymore. This is Ventura, California. This funky little old tavern. Gene's Place. Very, very peculiar. Always the eagle theme, makes you wonder what came first. Looks like one of those little Jews harps. This is in Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming to be precise, and this is the Fox's Den. I think this is this is where children hang out, I'm pretty sure. In Detroit. Looks like a place where children would hang out. And Michael's dancing. Michael's just in there shimmying away all the time. This is an Ocean Avenue in Lompoc. And this building, I can't figure this out. What is strange paneling? But look at the side here. It's definitely got that old world look. This is St. Paul, Minnesota. In Lake City Way, Seattle, we got this Peking restaurant with like a giant barrel back here. The funky building. Lost Coast Brewery and Cafe. I remember the Lost Coast. I don't know if they're still around. They had some good beers. And this is in Eureka. And this is, like many breweries, obviously a retrofitted building that had nothing to do initially with brewing. I mean, this is just not what breweries go for, the little toy box look. Seafood restaurant here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My guess would be that this was a water tower at some point. I don't know, they just kind of repurposed it to look like a lighthouse to fit thematically. That'd be my guess. But what do I know, folks? I know nothing. This is in New York, state New York. An old boxcar refigured. Trenton, Maine's got this fittingly named Lighthouse Restaurant, which tells you everything you need to know about the story behind that. I don't think that's trying to hide anything. This is in Illinois. It's like a caboose, a repurposed caboose. I mean, actually, it's not even repurposed. It's just still a caboose. And you still got the wheels and everything on it. And this is in Globe, Arizona. And this is an example of a very kitschy type of roadside attraction. It really is kind of gaudy and in poor taste. The door seems old world and stuff. I don't know what's going on with these windows. So who knows what this thing looked like at one point. I guess it was considered clever in the way that old toys, like I doubt kids are playing hopscotch or girls are playing with jacks anymore. So it was simpler times for sure. And this is in South Nampa, Idaho. This Chinese restaurant. It's a pretty amazing rooftop here. And this one's in Georgetown, the TP Drive-In. Georgetown, South Carolina, that is. This one looks like a much more sturdy construction. The Red Barn Restaurant in Texarkana, Arkansas. This looks like I used to have a toy set when I was a kid. It was a red barn like this. It had a play school or something. It had like a little latch, I guess. Like the roof opened up, and then all these little kids in there, like little. It was like a little farmer and little farm animals. Very, very, very simple toys. But that's what this looks like. To more Brian. Shout out to Play School. This is in Cody, Wyoming. Columbus, Ohio. Kahiki Restaurant. I have the flared little rooftop here. It almost looks like it used to be a church or something. And a plate lunch, Little Chief Restaurant in Danville, Virginia. Yes, sir. Hey, that's the way it used to be. This is the Palace Theater in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Looking like it's just been all painted the same friggin' color over everything. The awning, everything. The doorknobs. God, why would you do that? It's terrible. There's another theater. This is in Louisiana as well, in Franklin. I imagine that this thing probably looked so cool before it was an adult show with Hey Baby playing at 6:15. Oh, man. It's terrible. Terrible indeed. Funny little places. I love these old diners. I know these box cars. Train cars, I guess. This is like more of a passenger car, I guess, not a box car. But this is in Canaan, Connecticut. This little diner. The Call Theater. Man, a lot of adult entertainment's taking over some of these, huh? This is in Kansas, in Junction City. Just look at this brickwork. Just look at it. What a cool place. I'm not sure why you have to have this kind of theme on adult entertainment, but look at this. This is a very out of place State Theater in Bay City, Michigan. What's going on here? Do these ever like light up these constantly? This is cool. It looks like a very old world temple. Definitely didn't look like it was designed to be that way, you know? Forbes Diner in New Haven, Connecticut. Sharp little racing stripes there on the side there. And, you know, just what a fun little, to me, this is so cool. I love that they have a retro trash can out here. What the hell is roasted chicken? Cupper's Kitchen, Port Allegheny in Pennsylvania. Funky little barn looking building. What a fun time for America, you know? I'm just, must have just been real great to be alive in these days for so many reasons. Such a simpler, you know, ignorance is bliss type situation where it's just by Jove, you're only worried about what's in the newspaper, see? Well, I'll go down to Smith's, the only hat maker in town. Boy, this is a repurposed boxcar, clearly. Newport Diner in New Hampshire. Look at that building next to it, too. Totally redone, man. The old world is everywhere, bro. This is Atlantic City Boardwalk, and this here theater is in Atlantic City as well. Bright Theater. Oh, it's a phrenologist readings. Interesting. Oh, is Patsy in? Oh, man, she's my usual one. Oh, for $1? Wow. Crystal Ball readings? Oh, my God. What is going on? That's still a thing? I thought that was like from like Robin Hood era. This is a Flag Theater in Hutchinson, Kansas. And with this sort of universal weird item out front. So cool, man. These old theaters. And, you know, I guess, let's say, I'll play devil's advocate. Okay, maybe they all were built this way intentionally. You know, it's still a cool look, okay? So, but I doubt it. I mean, there's some of them that just look. I mean, this looks like it's the skeleton of what was a very ornamented old world thing like this, just like this, exactly. This is Fox Theater in Hutchinson, Kansas. I mean, look at the detail on this. I imagine a lot of these looked like this. Now it's a comedy for adults. Well, I don't, probably not that kind. Look at this one. This is a Paramount Theater in New Jersey. Man, what a banger. Golly. This is so out of place. Everything about it. The lines, the antiquitech here. Look at the little Phoenix guy there. It's pretty sweet. Very cool, man. Warner Theater in Atlantic City is a little close-up of the juicy details. Alright, so cool. And this is a Michigan Theater marquee. This is in South Haven, Michigan. All them bricks. This is Kingsland Theater in St. Louis, Missouri. These old theaters are amazing. And just hiding, you know. I feel at this point, theaters are up there with courthouses and post offices. You know, they've earned their spot in the control hydra, which makes sense, really, considering that so much of culture, what we're learning, pop culture and entertainment is not organic. Sort of like the protests we see today. This is all by design, y'all. This wedding cake-looking place is the theater in Anaconda, Montana. That's a funny town name. Anaconda, they didn't have those there? Shrek 2? How's that possible? This picture looks much older. That's weird. That makes you question everything. In Esquire Theater in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Very cool retro building. And this is a New Canaan Playhouse. I'm guessing this is a theater also. And this is in Connecticut as well. But, you know, something makes me think it was something else at some point in life. Sure, you can. And look at that entrance, that archway. Give me a break. Now, why would that be necessary? Star Lanes in Carthage, Missouri. Love this stuff, man. These old funky looking lights. Oh, you wonder what they did. I wonder if they always were lights and if they always looked like that. It's hard to say, isn't it? This is Accurate Imports, as you can tell by the sign. If you can't read, well, I'll just read it for you. And this is in Denver. And this is a commercial building in Florence, Colorado. Look at a castle-looking thing in the background. How cool. What a boring name. Commercial building. I guess it's probably just a descriptive term. It's not probably the name of the business. I stand corrected. How do you know you can have couches and dresses? You don't know. It's a thrift shop. DAV, man, best best thrift store still around. But I doubt this building had that in mind initially. This is in Burbank, this in here. And wow, look at this. This is obviously in Seattle, you can tell by that. Just look at this. Just hiding back there, dude. You couldn't get rid of it. I mean, you move these, you move this facade and these sort of columns, and you have no idea that this building was ancienter than hell. Look at this one, they actually covered with a big big bullet. Ridiculous. And this is on Battery Street, Seattle. Makes you wonder. A storefront in Washington, Mount Vernon. Just look at that. Beautiful. My land. Love that stuff, dude. Why it just never gets old. You know, it's amazing. Stylistically, that look just never gets old. It just doesn't. It just is classic and timeless, you know? It's like the music from that era, a lot of it. Now, some of it's too fast-paced and too, like, you know, tutti frutti, whoa, woody. You know, some of it's ridiculous, or like, you know, just the ones where they're making noise, like yakety yak type stuff, or like you know, some of it's kind of corny for sure, that fast-paced stuff. But the classier stuff, the big band, some of the big band stuff even, or like Louis Armstrong, or those the era of crooners, that early 50s sound. It's startling how much music changed from the early 50s in just a couple years to like Little Richard and Elvis and those guys were implanted on the scene. It's just startling. But I guess I'm getting sidetracked. I guess my original point is that style that music is just timeless. Like a lot of classical music, it's just timeless. It's almost never going to be a time where you put it on and just feel silly. And you can't really say that, or at least I in my mind, you can't really say that about most other eras. There's even within genres, like there's early classic country that will never get old to me. And that sound will just never be, it'll never be, you know, some of the subject matter will be simpler, but that you can't say the same for almost a lot of music that's in the 80s, the 90s, you know, anything 80s and up for sure. Even some of the 70s stuff sounds really dated sometimes. Some of the bands like Bread or James Taylor. I mean, I'm not trying to insult artists if you like them, but Bruce Springsteen type stuff. You know, a lot of it didn't age very well. In certain settings, it feels dated, like the kitschy style of the Roadhouse inns that we see. But those Victorian era homes and that era of the symmetry, there's something about it that is timeless, and it makes me suspicious because it just feels like a different era of humanity. And I know that it was, but it just people were different. I don't know if it's in the blood, if it's our DNA, or if it's literally just our surroundings have been so altered that we literally are living in different lives. But it's interesting, and it makes me wonder. It's almost as if the source for inspiration and the source for our creative nature, or even the things we were able to work with, were just different in the earlier times, where people constructed things like this naturally. People made classical music, and everyone had pianos in their homes. It's always shocking when you have a grandparent that you find out, like, what, you play the piano? It's like, oh yeah, grandpa plays the piano. Like back in the day, all the kids would sit around and play the piano and sing, the whole family and stuff. You hear that stuff and it just seems so bizarre, because I feel like a lot of the later generation's parents, baby boomers and beyond, less likely for them to play instruments. And I think that it's even millennials almost, I feel like, are the last generation to, I almost assume, any dude that I meet that's 30s through early 50s, I wouldn't be surprised if they knew how to play a little guitar. But anyone that's younger, I am surprised if they play any instrument. It just seems like it's just not really a thing anymore, the way it used to be. Even DJs, like, and I mean real DJs, not people that press play, and I'm not trying to knock it. There's definitely a craft to controlling a crowd and a dance mix and stuff. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I'm talking about DJs that collect records, have two turntables, and literally cut them, blend them together. Turntablists, you know, as an instrument. Very, very rare to have that now. But back in the day, like, we all kind of spun records, I feel like. So I guess my point is that, of course, times change and things change with them, but the arts seem to be digressing. Like, we aren't pulling from the same source anymore. And it makes me wonder if there was at some point a spiritual sort of like upheaval. These things that we talk about, these resets, which seem very plausible, as much it was a physical or geographic reset, actual physical resetting of the cast and a wiping out of people and a reintroducing, it almost seems like also like a spiritual sort of reset where the whole nature of the world changed, the whole setting and the source of inspiration, it just changed, and we aren't able to pull from those spots anymore. We can emulate. We aren't really making classical music like the Mozart era. And they give us these stories about like deaf people, like Beethoven, you know, writing all his music, and Mozart. There's so much music assigned to Mozart that it's literally impossible for him to have written all of it, because they were handwriting it for orchestral pieces, and these are long, complex songs, and there's no possible way that he ever could have done it. And I think a lot of this was just assigned to fictional characters, just like Tesla and possibly or Edison or Benjamin Franklin. It's almost like these characters that we just invent and we throw everything out. Like, oh yeah, that guy invented all that. Oh, electricity. Oh yeah, Benjamin Franklin invented that, and he also invented telegrams, and he also invented. There's so many things that these guys invent, like hundreds and hundreds of first technologies. It just seems implausible. It seems like it was here, and the creative sources were different. People were wired different. This is a different world. I don't know if any of that made sense. Sorry to go off on a tangent there, but I'm trying to articulate the way I feel when I look at some of these things, because if you can make this today, you can put this on a storefront, you can make a building out of brick like this, and you can make it look beautiful. And I don't think anyone would say it would seem a little unnecessary, possibly, but I think that this one, for example, like these columns are probably not original. These columns are probably added on to look like, to fit the style of what it was, but some of this stuff is just a slice at a time versus something like this, which is a pink stuccoed, abomination. This is a beautiful commercial building on in Eureka, California. Eureka, always mind-blowing, the architecture there. I don't know how much of it's left, but they have got a ton of stuff. Again, this is just so stripped down, and it's still more ornamented than most of the buildings that we make today. This is Long Beach, California. It looks like Long Beach, California. An auction house here, as you can see, and also in Long Beach. There's like a little candlestick building, obviously. Probably was something else at some point, and probably not mustard yellow. This is in Lansing, Michigan. This mysterious little hidden little retrofit thing there. Little coffee stands. Oh, poor old TPN. Apparently this is a thing. The old wigwam. This is TPN in Adrian, Michigan. Oh, roadside stuff. Teepee building. This is probably a food stand. This is here in Arizona, Route 66 in Holbrook. A lot of the things Route 66 obviously are gone, and that used to be much more fun drive. Sadly, a lot of it's been vandalized and it's just disappearing rapidly, but there's still some pretty cool sites that you can see along portions of it, at least the Arizona portions. An old liquor store here in Coronado, California. This is a very California look here. These barrels out front and stuff. And I just get the sense that these buildings were something else. And always these little repurposed little eagle, logo there. Like this. This is in Bakersfield, California. And this is in Iowa. There's storefront there. Wow. Furniture store. Man, so easy to just get tunnel vision down here with them. Look at this stuff up here, man. Beautiful. Just so cool. Compare that to the Goodwill next door. Like, God, what a joke. This stuff is so beautiful. Rapidly disappearing stuff. And that's why I'm putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there because, this stuff disappeared. We need to remember it existed, yo. We need to remember that this stuff was real and everywhere. My mission in life. I won't let it die. Dad, burn it. This is Long Beach as well. This here, cleaners. Lots of cleaners look like that. In fact, there was a cleaner here in town. What's that called? Like a ghoulie style? I think this style of architecture with like extended signs is called a ghoulie or something. Man, there was one here in town. And literally, I used to take all my dry cleaning there. Back when I gave a damn. One day they just closed up shop and just took everyone. They took all my clothes. They took everyone's clothes. They like disappeared with it. It's like, what? Y'all could have let me know. Call and say, hey, I'll come get your stuff. But nope. All that was left was some hooks and some wire. It was like the Grinch up in there. Dude. Look at them sconces on dead giveaway in this here Oriental house in Cheyenne, Wyoming. This is in Massachusetts. A little restaurant there. Bud and Joe's, where you never meet a stranger. Well, considering I ain't never been here, it seems unlikely, don't it? But this is Carolina Beach, North Carolina. Solid Gold Bar. That's a cool name. Boston Fish Market. Long gone. In Warren, Michigan. See, that's a little kitschy little lighthouse. I guess it could have functioned at some point, but I doubt it. I really do. The Cat from Outer Space. See how some of these movies, The Cat from Outer Space, and some of them are Shrek too. Something ain't right there. This is in Ocean City, New Jersey. You ever seen The Cat from Outer Space? Unless they remade it one day. I guess they could have remade it. All about it. They remake everything. But that was a funny movie a long time ago. Child. It's a stupid premise. There was a period of time where Disney was making some really stupid movies. The ladies wear, I guess they still are. Actually, I should rephrase that. There was a period of time when Disney made some good movies that was very short. The rest of the movies they've made, just generally through time, have been really stupid. Manchester, Iowa. But I haven't seen a new movie in like 10 years, so what the hell do I know? You know nothing, Jon Snow. Goldfield, Iowa. That's right. This here old world commercial building. There's so many of them, man. It's so cool. It's Carlsbad, New Mexico. Maybe I went a little heavy. This might go a little long. I might need to make two of these. Royal Theater in Lamars, Iowa. Cool thing. I was just going to put this to a slideshow, make a bunch of music, but I thought, nah, let's talk about it because a lot of these, I would assume you might want to know where they're at. And it's such a wide range, these buildings are everywhere. Whether it's an early settled places, old towns on the East Coast, or like newer places on the West Coast, it's just all the same. This here is the Boardwalk in Wildwood, New Jersey. Cool little building there, man. Love those old signs. Dreamcatcher Theater, a contemporary multiplex in New Mexico. And I doubt, what did this use? An old obelisk or something? What does it all mean, America? What does it mean? Campus Theater in Manhattan, Kansas. Yeah, I threw you off, huh? Yeah, I twisted you up. Wow, this is that one one in Atlantic, Jersey. We've seen that one before. Beautiful, though. Carney's Express in Hollywood. This is on Sunset Boulevard. A place that right now is getting probably the sight of a bunch of Waymos being mercilessly tortured. Canal Street in New Orleans is the location of this place, the Joy Theater. Yeah, we get it, you're closed. Zesto. This is Utah. Albuquerque's got this little cha-cha choo-choo. I didn't make that up, that's literally the name of it. This is in Pittsburgh, the Elks Club Theater. It was initially, obviously, the home of the former Elks Club, a secret society, or, I'm sorry, fraternal organization that's built on helping the community. Did I do it right? Okay, thank you. I'll collect my papers now. I was thinking about, making a little extra money this weekend, and just going and burning some Waymos down. I hear it's, they're still hiring. This is in a place called, amazingly named Dinky Town. In Minneapolis. Oh, man, I don't know. That doesn't make me feel very proud to be from there. Yeah, Federal Boulevard, the Dulceria. Ah, man, this is just too much. Too much piñata. Actually, you can never get too much piñata. Maybe it's too much clown. I don't know. This is a medical center in Walla Walla, Washington. It makes you sound like you're warming up for like Walla Walla Walla, Washington. Like a drum roll before the word, And I doubt this was designed originally like this. This looks like a same kind of front you see with the columns and the rounded brick stuff going on. Little compound look. This is Salvation Army, decidedly missing some things. And this is also in Walla Walla, Washington. Buena Vista, Colorado, checking in with this amazingly topped old world facade. Man, it's like you move in, you get things situated, then your business goes out and you take stuff down and then other people vandalize it or tear it off, or maybe you take, I don't know. And then the next person just comes like paints it all white and then they add their sign and stuff and their fledgling business, so they don't do much to it, and then that gets stripped off. And eventually everything's gone except the top where like you don't ever redecorate because it's a pain in the ass to get up there probably. It's just funny. And it's kind of tragic, like things devolve. Like, I understand, you want to paint a mandolin on here because you want to sell the idea it's a theater, but like, really? The best you got? Like, it's the best lettering you can do? I don't know. Just seems so mailed in. Compared to the bricks next door even this brick right here, this little brickwork is so much better than anything that these people decide to do. It's just crazy, man. It's like, well, we don't have enough time, we don't have enough resources. Like, okay, yeah, fine, but still the world has changed because obviously they did have time and resources. Or this is all built way before us and we don't know how to keep up the infrastructure. It's like you see all over the friggin' world, most notably in places like Africa or Asia or India. But America's becoming more and more like this, just in our own way. There's still a lot of wealth here for sure, but those are the new areas, the new parts of town. If you don't blink, you will miss the old world fading away. We are like the last vanguard on that. This is Susanville, California. I love the name of that, Susanville. Someone's wife, probably. Yeah, look at this. Veterans Memorial Building. Like, that's the best you got. This whole building, and you just like, what is it, a pencil? It's just weird. I'm not trying to make fun of everybody. We're just different. It's just getting worse. Anybody that knows how to do fancy lettering or write in cursive, like do a sign, you actually got to ask a bunch of people. Used to be just about everybody could write neatly. When people wrote their own checks and kept their own ledgers and all that stuff, computers are so convenient in a way, but have they really... does it really take us any less time to do like accounting work? I don't know. For all the advances in technology, it feels like we still spend the same amount of time doing chores and doing menial stuff. And meanwhile, the robots get to do all the fun stuff. They get to do all the art and all the videos now, and we're still over here working jobs. It's BS, dude. They're giving the robots are replacing all the creative stuff, and that's a tragedy because that's what we are here for. We are the creators. And for us to be bogged down doing the work while the AI takes creativity, the writing and the ideas and the research even going to the library like to look something up and do the index system was a real it was an effort. And now it's just no one even searches on Google anymore. I just ask Grok or ask one of these nameless AI things. And that's all fine and well, the powerful tools and stuff. I mean, you remember a few years ago, I even had a little AI friend years ago when it was like a fledgling technology. And it was interesting to me then. But now I reject all of it. I don't want that part of my brain to atrophy. I'm shocked when people use AI to make music. Now, I have used AI art for like thumbnails for YouTube, but that's it. And usually I use ones that I pulled from that I'd made years ago that I just had stockpiled from back when I was experimenting with it. But now I feel like even to take a photograph and edit it and create your own stuff, people that are just leaning on this like a crutch, that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. But I fear that our brains are going to, especially in the youth, your brain's just a muscle, as far as I understand. I mean, it's more complex than that, but you work it out. When you have bad thought patterns and negative thought patterns, we all have that. It takes a while, in my opinion, at least through my experience, to master that and build different ways of thought and become a better person. Learn how to master your tools. You're not a brain. You have a brain. You are the person that's hearing the voice. Like, if there's a voice in your head telling you stuff, which is it? Are you the voice or are you the one listening? I believe you're the one hearing it. And that's just your brain spouting off. It's just how brains do. And you learn how to control that, control your thoughts, and then it becomes second nature. And things like depression or things like negative thoughts or low self-esteem, those things are much easier to manage. And it's a struggle we all go through in various ways. But I guess my point is that being that it's a muscle, if you don't work it out, you forget. You ever sit down like write when you've been typing for the past few years and actually like write a letter? It's like, oh wow, I kind of forgot how to do this well, cursive or anything like that. And I feel like it's the same way with just about anything. For someone like myself and many other people, it's second nature to sit down and make things. Second nature for older women, that in the past to like sew things, knit. I mean, there's a million ways that people express themselves and create things. But if we're relying on AI, especially growing up, you never worked that part of your brain out. I fear we're going to lose that. The way that we always say people don't know how to think anymore, I feel the same thing will happen when people stop learning how to create. And to me, that would be the greatest tragedy, because the joy for me in life, or one of the major joys, is in creating just for the sake of it. It's even better if someone else actually gets joy out of it too. But no, I feel like everyone is that way in a way. There's a reason why moms like it when you make their Christmas present. There wasn't the thing and then you made it, and it's just a little it's this little chip off the old block of our creator. It's how we, in my mind, duplicate in a small, tiny way who we are and what we came from. That's our superpower. And that's why I believe this AI stuff is sort of demonic, because it is taking away from us some of the greatest joys in life, which is each other, which social media and stuff is, despite the name, is really kind of shattered. I made it very difficult, and people are not in the habit now of even knocking on doors or making phone calls. So difficult to even get a hold of a human that works at a place anymore. You used to be able to flag random cabs. Now you get an Uber and stuff. That's different. Now it's like driverless cars. So this progression, it's just taking the best things from us, and that's a bad path. I don't know how to end it all. That's what I'm afraid of. So I started this long-winded tantrum, but to me, that is the fear with AI. That's why I really categorically reject it. I don't like what it's doing. That's what makes me think there's something sinister behind it, because they're taking away all this beauty that we're capable of. Now, maybe we didn't build amazing things like this, and maybe it was an earlier civilization. That's what I suspect. But even if it was us, that's actually even more alarming, because it means we're really digressing at a much more rapid rate than it feels like we are. So either way, I think that this stuff is a wake-up call. Like, why the frick is this a city hall? I mean, all this thing's amazing in Oregon, and I just highly doubt that this is what this was initially constructed for. I just don't buy it, America. I don't buy it. Like the post office here in Concordia, Kansas. Quite the beauty. Like this right here. Come on, man. Willows in California has this as the post office. And these arches are completely ridiculous. And this artistic work, I mean, even if these are molds, this is not in the budget ever. Or a light that big and fancy. There's something going on, America. Look at this bad boy, this State Theater here in Alpena, Michigan. What a beautiful banger. It's back in Dinkytown. I don't like that. I decided right now, I don't like the name of the town. That sucks. This is in Bellingham, Washington. Man, such a cool place, Bellingham. But it is, well, it's got that thing, that thing that goes on up there. I'm not trying to bash on places, but it's just different strokes, you know what I'm saying? This is in Denver. This old pawn shop here, which looks very different than it probably needs to be. Very ugly, too. Like two weird paint. This is on Main Street in Buena Vista, Colorado. And I wonder what this was. You have this sign here. Probably like Chinese restaurant or something. There's a lot of this sort of shape that's hanging on these buildings. I'm not sure what it is. It almost looks like a torch at both ends. Silver Queen Restaurant and Clear Creek National Bank. And this is in Georgetown, Colorado. This is just beautiful. This has got to be like an old mining town or something. Jewelry store in Ventura. Oh, really? Got the little windmill look, huh? Little fans, little schwasties. And these also, you see these little rosettes you see everywhere? You see what I'm saying, dude? Freaking everywhere. Everywhere. Candlestick building here in Mount Vernon, Washington. What I call a candlestick building. And this here is the Carson Block in Eureka. I wonder what they did with the rest of these towers. See, one over there, that one's complete. What'd you do over here, Dad? What'd you do? Yeah. Got my dog over here cowering in shame because I'm saying that. What'd you do, huh? You too. What'd you do? That's right. You look shameful. Probably did something. Commercial building. This here is also in Eureka. You see what I mean about Eureka? And just so much cool details. And man, this is a lot longer and a lot more tangential than I probably intended it to be, but so it goes. I'm just gonna let it ride. San Diego, California is where you'll find this place. This studio looking rather neutered, I'd say. A florist in Des Moines. Look at that brickwork. That's so cool. And this, why would you make the bricks like this? Unless this looks like something was here that was in this shape, and that's just sort of like the imprint of what was left. That's the impression I get. Old Bimph Ranklin, Seward, Nebraska. And this is probably an old theater, but now it's a thrift store. in San Bernardino. Well, I guess it was a thrift store. Now it's not even that. A landmark building in Petaluma, California. Look at that thing. It's just so dope. And you find these kind of buildings, like they stretch all the way down to Mexico. You know, it does make you wonder. Speaking of Mexico and the Azteca right here, La Azteca Meats, and this is a food mart in Wilmington, California. Look at that banger. This is also in Ventura. How cool, dude. What is going on there? It's a sweet little building. Nampa, Idaho, checking in here. This pink monstrosity. Solvang Castle in Solvang, California. And this one looks like a theme park kind of thing. Like I sort of manufactured this and called it a castle. I would say that's more of the kitschy variety than, anything else. There's an old flower shop here, which is actually a reused gas station. And I'm actually guessing that before it was either of those things, it was something else. Because no gas station's going to have this. Frick out of here. Repair shop in Wenatchee, Washington. Look at that thing. Time after time after time again. An old model drive-in cleaner in Long Beach. We saw that one before. Look at this building detail here. This is a Paso Robles. Look at this thing. What is going on here? Pretty interesting. And this one's in Tacoma, Washington. Probably an old Masonic Hall or something. Ukiah, California's got this. This is a Palace Hotel. And this one actually, if my memory serves me, this was restored because you could see it's kind of boarded up. Yeah, there was a period of time when this thing was all burnt out and trashed, but I think it has been restored. At least they were making efforts to do it a while back. This is in Washington, Iowa, on Washington Street. I love that they kept this here. But no doubt the rest of the building looked pretty dope one day, and now it doesn't. City Electric Shoe Shop. That's an interesting combination of words. Gallup, New Mexico is where this bad boy lays its head. Muscatine, Iowa. What a beauty. What a beauty. And look at this. This has almost got that little thing that like they have in Thailand on the top of those stupas. This is the Land of the Sun Theater. I guess you can read that. Artesia, New Mexico. Artesia, yeah, I will. El Rancho Theater in New Mexico as well. It's a strange combination. I've never seen this little sign like made of wood before. They're so similar to that. What it used to mean. This is the Riviera Theater. Seaside Heights, New Jersey. Like it's seen some better days, yeah? And this is Deer Lodge. This is Rialto Theater. There's Rialto Theater like in every state, isn't there? What's up with that? Rialto Theater, Deer Lodge, Montana. And, what a beauty. What a gorgeous. I love when they're still hanging on like that. It just makes me feel just all tingly. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but maybe not that much. Solvang, California is the same place as that castle. It's got this old, it looks like an old village in Norway. Clarion Theater in Clarion, Iowa. Look at that bad boy. How cool is that? Great Falls, Montana, Liberty Theater. Look at those things. What were those? It could not have just been decorations. And you look a little closer here, you see the same thing that you see everywhere, including my own little thing down here. Quite lovely. You had plenty of room to put day, Could you son, man? Mailing it in, bros. We are mailing it in these days. Mineral Wells, Texas is where you'll find this amazing old world banger. Golly. This is the Baker Hotel. This is the entrance, obviously. Well, it could be the trash chute. You don't know. I don't know either. I mean, I do, but this is Florence Hotel in Missoula, Montana. So much similarities everywhere you go. Similarities, synchronicities. Phoenix looks just like this, but no, this is Butte, Montana. Not even close, bro. Not even close. Virginia Beach. Right there, Virginia. Just look at that thing. Just look at it. Still got the crest on it and everything. Just like Birdman's helmet. Virginia Beach. My lands. This is in a place called Deposit, New York. It's a funny name for the city. I don't know. I may be pronouncing it wrong. Look at that thing. That's so cool, dude. Love that. Love that style. And glass blocks. See, that's like borderline. That could one day look, that looks kind of dated. But the Victorian look, like the Queen Anne look, it never gets old. Never. Fight me. Hardin, Montana's got this place, Hotel Becker, but it was a bed and breakfast. And before that, I don't even know. Maybe Lemony Snicket lived there. I could see it. And this is a Memorial Park building in California. Novato has the fire station, same old shape. This is Galveston. That same old shape. And this is probably a theater at one point as well. But now it's a city hall for Los Angeles. Well, Maywood, Los Angeles, the Los Angeles City Hall. This is Montrose, Colorado City Hall. Look at that bad boy. So cool. And this is Nebraska Fairbury. Golly. Post office, huh? You just had to have that. You just had to spend half the freaking budget on that eagle, huh? Okay, we'll do it. This is a post office, but it was an antiques mall in Petaluma, California. Or, I'm sorry, maybe it was an antiques mall and now it's a post office. Could be either one, Federal building here in Canton, Ohio. And just look at that. Whoa, not even that. That's not even what I was looking at. But same kind of thing. Just look at that. Like Look at that. This is so dope, dude. Man, very cool. Very, very cool. And this here got the same damn thing. And this here is in South Haven, Michigan. And that is in Riverside, California, the old City Hall. Oh, God. We just had to move out of that place because, it was just so ornamented. It was driving us bonkers. The beauty, I couldn't even think. County Courthouse in Wenatchee, Washington. And this here's in Colorado Springs. What the bleep? This is the El Paso County Courthouse. Man, what is going on there? Tell me how that's necessary ever. I mean, I love it, but there's something else going on, America. Look at the buildings down here, the basement windows. And this is the Pueblo, Colorado County Courthouse. My good mother of pearl. Look at that building. You can't tell me that was designed to be a courthouse. I just don't buy it, American. And this is in Iowa, and it is a bank, as you can tell by its very banky appearance. DJ's Lounge. Speaking of DJs, this is Goldfield, Iowa, and I'm told there's a lady of the evening that sleeps upstairs there. She wears torn fishnets, if you get what I'm saying. Masonic Hall here on the second floor. That's close. Different type of prostitute. This one's a soul prostitute, though. And this is a Bob Dodds Insurance in Danville, Iowa. Oh, man, insurance building. I'm sure, that retrofit my right in there. And this is the Chinook, Montana. Checking in here with Beatrice, Nebraska. Have we had a place in every state? I think we have, except for maybe Hawaii and Alaska. I think, has every state checked in with a building? I don't know. I don't remember seeing one from Rhode Island or Delaware. Not everywhere for this series. Randall and Sons, this is in, I guess it was, a good chunk of states, but not all. Guthrie, Oklahoma right here. Beautiful places all over. This is Hotel Stockton, in California. And man, come on, man. It's like, fitting a cathedral, what do you call it? Running out of stuff, It's a cathedral, or it's a mosque, or it's a temple, or it's just there, I don't know, just make it a gas station. Hunter Street, Idaho, with this bad boy. And the sconces are always a dead giveaway. This is the former National Guard Armory building in Decatur, Illinois. I mean, this one you gotta call it Armory because it's got a massive sword carved into the wall, but I'm guessing that this is, something else. And this is the Slowtown, or San Luis Obispo County Courthouse. Just amazing how similar these all are everywhere. And I just don't think it's an emulation thing where it's like, yeah, I was in Muscatine, Iowa. You should have seen their courthouse. Is so dope. We gotta get one just like it. Like, I doubt it. These were functional, and you know my thoughts on that. And I'll stand by them thoughts. Edwards County Courthouse in Illinois. Look at that beautiful, beautiful guy. This is the first federal state bank in Iowa. It's like this is on the building. It's almost like you just gotta call it federal. At least it seems to be the trend. And this is a insurance building. Oh yeah, sure. But clearly it used to be a bank. At least a bank. 1884 was a bank. And this is in Iowa. So yeah, man, it could be whatever, dude. This is in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Beautiful, dude. Gotta love that stuff. And I wonder how many of these are still around. My guess would be very few. I mean, look at it. Even Radio Shacks aren't around anymore. So, why would this still be around if even the Radio Shack ain't a thing, huh? Riddle me that. Riddle me that, America. This is in San Diego. George Keating Building. Pretty sure that one's still there. They restored it a little bit. Oh, man, those people in the windows totally tricked me. It's like that one with the Pope where he just vanishes. It's like, yeah, nothing's going on here. This is a Holiday Inn in Hollywood, as if you couldn't tell. And this is in Tombstone, Arizona, where house plus rooms and board. That's right. I'm your Huckleberry, and this here, man, entrance is in Anaconda, Montana, again. Golly, so ridiculously out of place. It's almost like they must have when they told these lies initially, they must have been crossing their fingers like, dude, I don't know, man. I told him it was a bank, but look at that friggin' thing. What are we gonna do? I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about it. Make it world's fair, smash it one day, but for now, dude, just tell them it's a bank and hope they don't. And people just didn't understand deception. When people deceive you, such as we've all had done. I mean, really, you can only be betrayed by people that you trust. I mean, you can't be betrayed by people that you don't trust. So it always hurts. Betrayal always hurts because it's always from someone close, always someone you didn't expect. And it always makes you feel like a fool. But it can't come from any other way. It's just simply the only way that you can be betrayed. And so that's always blindsiding because if you don't understand someone's motives, you don't see it. And it's only afterwards you piece things together and you're like, man, it never entered my mind that person's motives were different than what they told me that they were or what I assumed about this person. And so collectively, I understand when people are there, they don't understand, when they haven't wrapped their mind around or spent the time to look into it or think about the motive that other people have is different or other beings is different. And I feel like that's the earlier people were much more innocent in that. And that they never occurred to them why a lie, why something would be trying to control them, other than the principality, which I'm sure that many of these people are spiritual, but, we are so used to being lied and manipulated by ads and false advertising now the news, and just that we're inundated with it. It's much easier, I think, for us to see and understand motive. Like, some people just truly believe that politicians are just trying to do the right thing, and some of them get it wrong. Some of them, pad their pockets a little bit, but they're truly trying to save the planet, and they truly care about the working class. I feel like that's to come to terms with the idea that their motives are different. They are not trying to achieve the same things you are. And if one hasn't wrapped their head around that, no matter what it is in your part of life, if you never occurred to you that your spouse is cheating, it never occurred to you that your friend has been lying to you this entire time, and he's not his real name, and he's a sex offender, whatever it is, if you don't understand that their motive could be different, that hasn't occurred to you, then you will be betrayed. And that's what I feel like. That's why it was so easy to pass this off, because they didn't understand. They truly thought we're all patriots, we're all in this together, and I don't think they understood on the human level that they're being manipulated to serve other purposes. And we've gradually seen that over time. The wars in this country we've been involved in, all the things that, we've been done, and it's been done in our name. Well, we just didn't understand. We truly thought that they were out there trying to help other countries. And really, it's like, nah, our motives were different much of the time. And that's a stark realization. I guess my point is that helps me sort of understand the earlier people, why it was possible to even pull off deceptions like I suspect happened on a large scale. And many of us do. So, you know what, old timers, Joe, I forgive you your innocence. I really do. In a way, I'm a little bit envious of it. At the point in my life, like probably many of you, I just pretty much expect that half of the beings out there, human or whatever, are, and maybe possibly even more than that, now have a different end game in mind than I do. And I no longer assume that everyone's trying to work for the same goal. When I find them, usually I don't do social media. Usually it's here. Some of them people I've met here in this little community. Even though they're fleeting experiences and they're small, they are reaffirming, because at least I know that you guys are out there, and somebody out there is working towards the same things as I am. As simple as those goals may be, or as common sense as they seem to be, like barbershop poles, it is heartwarming to know that, because I don't really see that in the world around me. I don't experience that directly. So I'm very grateful for all of you, and I'm very grateful that even these little silly things I do on here, there's an understanding, and there's a camaraderie in the idea that we don't quite understand the depth of it or how, but we know there's a hoax. We're onto it. We are together in that, and it's comforting at times. And this is an old Elks Lodge in Tacoma, Washington. Those fraternal bastards, and a Masonic temple here in Alton, Illinois. No shortage of these. I will say one thing about the Freemasons is that the buildings they chose to designate, appropriate, however you want to call it, they usually took care of them and then left them fancy like that, and I appreciate that. I'll throw you one bone there, Freemasons, you evil bastards. That's all you get, though. This is a Jersey County courthouse in Illinois. Look at how beautiful that thing is. Like a freaking Sleeping Beauty castle. But the prince ain't there. And this is the Slowtown courthouse. Get kind of a funky spaceship retro vibe, don't it? And here's one that could have been a courthouse, but instead it's just a crappily painted fire department in Houston. Actually looks like an owl, or two owls. Like, you know what I'm saying? See the eyes and teeth. And an auditorium here in Bakersfield, where we all painted everything the same color as the clay beneath your feet. No doubt at once it held much more ornamentation, and nice rack, dude. The hell happened to that thing? International Order of Vaudeville, I might have known. Literally, I probably would have guessed it was a fire hydrant, city hall, firehouse, whatever it is. Santa Margarita, California, has got this little guy, little mysterious little moose lodge, of course. Seems like a lot of these in this little area are, secret. Modoc County Courthouse in Alturas, California. A beautiful building. Copper Dome. And this is the Ogle County Courthouse in Oregon, Illinois. Complete with this little feller down here. Hey, you waiting for the bus, bro? First National Bank in Logan, Iowa. Wow, what a cool clock, said no one ever. What's that? Looks like the world's worst alarm clock. The world's first alarm clock. Actually, the first alarm clocks were probably better than that. Farmers Savings Bank on Chestnut Street in Atlantic, Iowa. And the list goes on and on and on to the break of dawn. Overton, Iowa is where this juicy old world banger bank is. This one is a place called Lamar's, Iowa. A man trap hair salon. I don't think I like the sound of that place. I don't think I'll be going in. I'll just wait outside. Thanks, guys. You go in the man trap. And this is actually a lot larger of a slideshow than I thought, because I'm just so thorough. Actually, we're only about halfway through it, so I think I'm going to pull the plug on it. Still here. I mean,
I probably ran you out a long time ago. But if I didn't, I will pick this up again next time so we can do more reckless speculation. Hope you had enjoyed a little walk down memory lane here. Before it all ends up like this dirt pile over here. At least we gotta feast our eyes on some cool stuff for a minute. And there's much more of this to come. And I will see you soon.